The dungeon crawler genre has been around for quite a long time, though we don't see as many games in it nowadays. But there's a new one called Heroes of the Monkey Tavern now out on the PlayStation 4. But is this a dungeon that's worth crawling into, or is this one quest that should stop before it even starts? Heroes of the Monkey Tavern is a pretty simplistic approach to a first-person perspective dungeon crawler that will remind you a bit of some of the classics. You start off by creating a 4-character party, selecting from a variety of classes, selecting which portraits you would like for each of the characters, though you're never seeing your actual character since it is all first-person perspective, and then modifying their stats like strength, intelligence, dexterity, vitality, and of course you'll want to put certain points and certain stats that work better with whatever classes you ended up picking. There's 3 different difficulties for you to select from. Veterans of the genre will probably want to go for normal or hard right from the get-go, though if you're more of a novice, you can definitely go with easy and be able to work your way through the game, though it's still going to be a bit difficult if you're completely unfamiliar with this style of game. You then set off into the dungeon, working your way floor by floor, dealing with traps, solving puzzles, and of course defeating monsters. Interesting enough with the controls, you actually don't use the left stick at all to move your character. In fact, everything's relegated to the D-pad as far as movement was concerned, which some people may end up having an issue with. You can look around the room using the right stick to at least look a little bit from the sides of wherever your character's perspective is, and you'll use L1 and R1 in order to turn your character, but then using the D-pad for your up, down, left, and right movements. You can pull up a map at any time to see where you are, and it'll draw as you're going through so you can tell easily where you've been and where you still need to explore. Everything is pretty much locked onto a grid, just like classic games of this genre, so if that's something you're not a big fan of, you're not going to enjoy that aspect for sure. The combat in the game is a bit clunky and took me a while to feel comfortable with. You have to select which character you want to use and then attack with. You're controlling all 4 characters at one time, and you'll have to use L2 and R2 to switch quickly between the different characters in order to attack or to use a spell, depending upon what classes and characters you're currently using. Every time you use a move, of course, they will have to recharge for a few moments so you can switch to another character and then come back to the one you've already used in order to attack again. While this does end up working and all of this is pretty much turn-based for you and the enemies you're dealing with, still, it takes a little while to get used to, and even as I made it farther in, I still wasn't fully comfortable with it. I will also say it took a little bit to get used to picking up and using items in the game. Everything felt like there was too many button presses involved. Instead of just being able to press one button to pick up something, you had to press square, make sure you had the right character that you wanted to give that item to, then select the X button in order to give that item to that particular character. And even stuff like rearranging stuff for equipment was a bit slower than I would have necessarily liked. Overall, though, the combat is okay once you kind of get the hang of things. It's nothing spectacular, just kind of seeing little slash marks and numbers end up popping up, and you gain experience, of course, for defeating enemies, and your characters will level up. Nothing of the items you grab, weapons or equipment, are locked to one specific character type, so you can equip a warrior with a mage robe if you like, though if that character has an affinity for that particular type of equipment, they'll get a bit of a bonus for it. The game does auto-save from time to time, as well as you can rest at any point to fully recover your health in order to also do a save that way. Your goal in the game, of course, is to get through the dungeon and make it to the very end, and you do so by traveling through the floors. You may need to find keys, you're going to have to fight a lot of monsters, and then you'll find a staircase eventually, and then you'll use that in order to go to the next floor and repeat the process all over again. Overall, everything kind of has that old school feel and approach to it, which I'm sure some people will end up enjoying. It doesn't do anything that really ends up standing out as new or exciting, that's for sure. From the technical side of things, Heroes of Monkey Tavern ran fine, though. I didn't run any major slowdown, glitching, or crashing of any sort. Heroes of the Monkey Tavern is available now on the PlayStation 4 for $9.99. It doesn't feature a full trophy list or plat, though. Overall, this is an okay dungeon crawler. If you're someone who likes this genre, you'll probably end up having a bit of fun here and there with the title, and thankfully it's not too expensive. With everything said, though, I'm going to be giving Heroes of the Monkey Tavern an average 5 out of 10. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.